Finn Balor may be meeting the head of the table very soon. We are live, man! Finn Balor and Karrion Kross tonight. Excellent main event for the NXT Heavyweight Championship. Karrion Kross proves to be successful. But what does this mean for Kross going into TakeOver in your house? And what does this mean for Finn Balor? Franky Monet had her debut tonight. Did she succeed? And a triple threat match has been announced for next week. Johnny Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, and Pete Dunne. We will have a new number one contender immediately for Karrion Kross. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go over what I thought was a great main event tonight on NXT right here on the only podcast you need on your Tuesday night. This is your NXT post show right here on Off the Script. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is your NXT post show for May 25th, 2021. I am your host, JD from New York. Welcome to the OTS venue. We had a great main event tonight between Karrion Kross and Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. I was very much looking forward to this match because I loved what they did in their last match. And going into tonight, it was legitimately the only thing on the show that I had any interest in. And they built it up nice. They made it feel important. And NXT, they always do very well when it's something like this, where you got Kross, you got Balor, the title's on the line, it's a rematch. NXT and everybody else knew that what these two guys did together the first time was great. They hyped it up, and they made both of these guys and the title feel important. The match itself was great. The match itself was fantastic. Slow to start, but that's how good stories start. You don't want to rush through everything in the first 5 minutes. It was slow to start. They built that anticipation up early. And then that closing sequence, it was a thing of beauty, man. I didn't know at all who was going to win the match. You could have made a case for legitimately anybody. You could have made a case for Balor to win that match. You could have made a case for Kross to win that match. You could have even made a case that it goes to a draw or a double countout of sorts. But WWE was in no position to do any fuck finishes on this evening. Finn Balor lost the title at TakeOver. He got his rematch. Don't know exactly what he did to get his rematch, but here we are. It's WWE. They give rematches out like fucking candy. So he gets his rematch tonight on NXT, loses the rematch, and now the question is, what happens to Finn Balor after tonight, after failing to capture the NXT championship again? I pitched that Balor is done in NXT. Now, I read a report on the Monday Night Raw post show last night that more NXT talent is slated to be called up to the main roster, and WWE has names of those individuals and plans for those call-ups, not plans for the call-ups, plans for the call-ups to be called up on the main roster, whether they go to Raw or whether they go to SmackDown. One of those names I do believe is Finn Balor. I do believe Finn Balor is done in NXT. There's nothing more for him to do. He won the NXT championship. He didn't really generate any more interest for the show on top of what they were already getting. We got some great matches out of Balor with Johnny Gargano. We got some great matches with Adam Cole. We got some great matches with Karrion Kross. Balor's run in NXT did exactly what it needed to do, and that was put over who is there in NXT with what he's already accumulated for himself from NXT the first time and then when he became insanely popular on the main roster. But there's nothing more for him to do. If he stays in NXT, it's only a downgrade from Kross. That's all it is. It's not going after the North American Championship. You're not going to pair him in a random tag team on NXT and have Balor and whomever go after the NXT Tag Team Championships. You're not going to feud him with a Kushida over the Cruiserweight Championship. Balor is slated to be called up to the main roster again. Now, I know that Balor wanted to move from the main roster to NXT for his own personal reasons. It's not very difficult to see why he wanted to move from the main roster to NXT. They butchered his main roster run. We called him Smiley Finn on the main roster, and the production team had an infatuation with his crotch because he'd do that ridiculous entrance and he'd poke his crotch out, and Kevin Dunne, like clockwork, would focus in on his lower region, on his crotch area. I don't know why. So he was a walking toothpaste / underwear model on the main roster. Not exactly what I think of when I think of Finn Balor. A toothpaste supermodel. A walking toothpaste ad / supermodel. Nah. I'm sorry. Doesn't work that way. But Balor, he moved to NXT, and Triple H kind of breathed new life into what they did with him the first time. They kind of made WWE eat their own bitter pill, the main roster, because they fucked him up, and Triple H knew that they handed Bruce and everybody else a fucking superstar in the making, and they wanted to tinker with it, and they wanted to toy with it, and they wanted to do what they wanted to do with it. It was never the same. We never seen the Demon. He was not cool. He wore the leather jacket, but wearing leather jackets doesn't mean that you're fucking cool. He moved to NXT, and instantly he became cool. He had a nice attitude to him. He had this ruthless aggression to him. He had a better promo skill set when he moved back down to NXT because they let him talk a little bit more in a more organic and natural environment. To say Triple H gave him a new lease on life is an understatement. They pretty much took this guy's dying WWE run and saved it in NXT. Now, I don't want him to move up to the main roster only for what we saw of him on the main roster the first time to happen all over again. Maybe they learned their lesson. I don't know. But I do know that Balor is done in NXT. You just get a sense of it. You feel it when someone's done. Now, it could have gone either way. Balor could have made Karrion Kross tap out in that triangle choke tonight. And Balor could have been the new NXT champion, and I'd be sitting here in the open talking about Karrion Kross. Because I obviously don't see him on NXT that much longer. I mean, the guy is destined for superstardom on the main roster. You could put him on Monday Night Raw, have Drew McIntyre win the WWE title at Hell in a Cell, and boom, you got Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Sounds like an intriguing match to me, and Drew McIntyre needs something new. There's nobody really feeling Drew McIntyre right now. Could have made a case for that. But Kross is still the champion. What do we do with Balor? We move him to SmackDown. You move him to Monday Night Raw, then he's going to go right back to where he was the first time. But there is a reason Paul Heyman was included in the open of this hype package that we saw last week. Paul Heyman was paying close attention to this match. The tribal chief was paying close attention to this match. Why? Because Balor is getting called up. Balor is going to SmackDown. Now, again, I don't know if that is true or not. It could be me just blowing shit up your ass. But this is what I would do with Finn Balor. Monday Night Raw, no. Balor to SmackDown, absolutely. Roman Reigns is going to need opponents going into SummerSlam. I don't see Roman Reigns right now. From what I see, I don't see anybody after Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso, and their problems are all squared away. I do not see Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns lasting past Hell in a Cell. I do think that Jimmy Uso falls in line. I do think Jimmy Uso acknowledges Roman Reigns, and I do think the Usos challenge for the tag team championships at SummerSlam against Booyaka 619. Dominic and Rey Mysterio. So where does that leave Roman? Seth Rollins? I don't think Rollins is it. Rollins will get done with Cesaro. Cesaro will go back to the mid-card where he belongs. Cesaro is going to go challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. Look at that fucking mid-card. Now you got Aleister Black back. I love what those two guys did the first time when Black was actually on TV all those many months ago. He had a nice couple of string of matches with Cesaro. I could see that being relived. Cesaro's never going to get another WWE Universal Championship match. He's not going to get another win over Seth Rollins. Rollins will win. Roman Reigns has no challengers at SummerSlam. Rollins, the way I see it, I feel like Rollins and Edge is the right match at SummerSlam. Edge is going to be back on July 16th when WWE has that first show back with fans in attendance. Sasha Banks is going to be back on that night as well, as WWE is already promoting them via signage and graphics to sell tickets for that show. So Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins is out of the equation. That is not best for business. Rollins Edge is what I would do at SummerSlam on SmackDown if Edge is going back to SmackDown. Where Daniel Bryan fits in, I don't know. I'm not booking anything with Daniel Bryan. As far as I'm concerned, he's not with the WWE anymore. So Balor comes up to SmackDown, and right away, you start booking him in a program with Roman Reigns. He is the first Universal Champion. It's not difficult for Paul Heyman to pen a story for Roman Reigns and Finn Balor on SmackDown going into SummerSlam for the Universal Championship. I think with this Balor and the Reigns that we got now, I think that would be a damn good match. And what if we get the Demon? What if we get the Demon back to go against Roman Reigns? Finn Balor has already stated that he would love to go back to the main roster. Does Finn Balor want to go back to the main roster to go fall into failure again the first time he was up there? Or does he have a little bit more leeway now? Balor would want to be a part of something important. Balor would want to be a part of something that's going to make him happy as far as his work goes. Going to Monday Night Raw and being put in a feud with Jinder Mahal is not exactly what I would call Finn Balor being happy. Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, a championship that Finn Balor won. The inaugural championship against Seth Rollins, where he had to give it up. He never lost it. Sounds like a simple story to me. Sounds like a SummerSlam main event to me. That's what I would do. Reigns and Balor. Edge and Rollins. Sasha, Bianca. Rematch. If I'm looking at SmackDown, that's a pretty solid 3 big matches there for SmackDown side of SummerSlam. And I'm not even including anything with Black and Big E and Owens and Apollo and Sami Zayn and Cesaro. You could have a good 4 or 5 matches coming out of SummerSlam that really makes SummerSlam feel like SummerSlam. Balor Reigns is it. I saw someone in the live stream chat already saying that Balor versus Reigns is not a good idea. Balor needs a victory. Why does he need a victory? Balor could still look like Finn Balor just by booking him better than he was the first time around on the main roster. And here's a little spoiler for you, folks. For everybody that says Roman Reigns is not doing what he needs to do and people need victories on SmackDown, why are you going to put people in the ring with Roman? They're going to be a loser. If you're in the ring with Roman Reigns, ladies and gentlemen, that is a victory in itself. That means you're at the top of the card. That means you're in the most important storyline with the most important entity in the entire company for the most important championship in professional wrestling right now. And that is the Universal Championship. So please spare me. Oh, Balor needs a victory. Balor needs wins. Why are we putting him and booking him and fantasy booking him in a situation where he's just going to lose? Roman Reigns and everything he touches, I don't know if you really comprehend this yet. Everything he touches turns to gold. There's a reason why he wears the golden glove. That's not because it looks good on him. That's because he hears everything that everybody's saying and he looks back at his body of work and he sees it. He knows it. He acknowledges it. Balor versus Reigns is it. Now, what do we do with Karrion Kross? Karrion Kross has 3 guys looking down him for the NXT Championship. We're looking up at him, I should say, because they're all significantly shorter than Karrion Kross. Johnny Gargano. I love me some Johnny Gargano, but I got to be honest with you, man. I don't know why he would even be feuding for an opportunity for the NXT Championship when he just lost the North American Championship. Shouldn't it be a situation where Johnny Gargano gets to the back of the line? Again, I love Johnny Gargano, but I got to call a spade a spade. Sounds like some Monday Night Raw typical bullshit right there. Then you got Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly does not feel like a main event guy at all. Cool Kyle isn't WWE NXT championship material. Then you got Pete Dunne, who they've been putting a little bit more resource into compared to Johnny Gargano and Cool Kyle. Seems like Pete Dunne, to me, is building his entire presence around being the toughest and baddest motherfucker in NXT. Sounds like out of the 3 guys, that's your winning formula. Sounds like Pete Dunne versus Karrion Kross is the most attractive option going into NXT TakeOver in your house. Johnny's not going to get the job done for the same reason I didn't want to book Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross. It has nothing to do with his size. It's just the nature of the beast. You don't book guys like that against guys like Kross, and the way Kross has been booked, it's not going to look believable. Johnny Gargano's going to have to sit this one out. Same thing with Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole, in his absence, looks more like a main event guy than Kyle O'Reilly. So Pete Dunne is the winning formula there for In Your House. Karrion Kross, he'll go on to slay everybody on NXT until he eventually stares face to face with Walter, because that's the only thing that WWE has going for themselves. The only other guy that is on TV every week that has a legit shot against Karrion Kross is Bronson Reed, and I do not see them doing that match. That is a match I think could be real special for Bronson Reed when the time is right. Because Bronson Reed is no pushover. Bronson Reed could be built up to be that guy if WWE so chooses. So WWE answered one big question today. Who are they going to go with into the future? That is Karrion Kross. Balor is all but done on NXT television. Roman Reigns and Finn Balor is your winning match at SummerSlam. Book it. I would not be surprised if it happens at all. Thank you guys for joining me on this Tuesday night. This is NXT's post show right here on Off the Script. Last week, I should say, I was live to virtually nobody because YouTube wanted to pretty much take a dirt nap and cease to exist for about an hour and a half. And then all of a sudden the stream came back and everything was back to normal. And believe it or not, the live stream after it published to YouTube did more views than the NXT review the previous week. So I didn't really lose anything. The show went on, we carried on in a very professional manner, and we finished the show like we always have to finish the show, better than anybody. But it seems like there's no problems here tonight, so I'm grateful for you guys joining me here. We got 875 in the venue. People are still filtering in. If you guys are inside the venue, if you guys are here live with me tonight, let's try and hit that thumbs up, man. Let's try for a goal of 600 likes live tonight on the NXT Post Show. We are halfway there, so hit that thumbs up if you have not done so already. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications so you guys are notified when I upload and when I go live. I will have an extra out tomorrow in the afternoon. We got Adnan Virk fired by WWE. Don't believe any of the news articles. Mutually parted ways. Motherfucker, you were fired because, let's be real, guys, Adnan Virk sucked at calling professional wrestling. He may be very good at calling a hockey game or doing hockey analysis or talking about baseball or calling baseball. But professional wrestling, the guy, let's be real, sucked. So WWE fired him after 7 weeks. Now, who's going to fill in for that role on Monday night? That's the most intriguing thing of all. Because Monday Night Raw is nothing but Monday night rematches. Who's going to fill in? Are they going to continue a search and have Byron and Corey do it themselves? Maybe they bring back Tom Phillips. How many of you guys hated Tom Phillips and now love Tom Phillips after hearing Adnan Virk? Or maybe they go and call up Mauro Ranallo. But Mauro, knowing him, would probably laugh in their fucking face, hang up the phone, and tell them to suck his dick. Because why would Mauro want to be on Monday Night Raw? Give me a break. Tony Khan needs to call up Mauro and have him do play-by-play commentary for AEW Rampage when they debut on TNT in August. So we'll have an extra out tomorrow. We got a lot to go over in the world of WWE. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe. Like I said, it's the most important thing. Today's show is sponsored by Homage. Homage.com. If you guys want the best in your retro and vintage t-shirts, you guys are going to use code SCRIPT at checkout for 20% off. So make sure you guys go and check out what they got. Unbelievable stuff. I got me a couple of t-shirts I'll be wearing in Jacksonville, and they feel great. That is Homage, HOMAGE.com. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 20% off. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Let's jump into this NXT post show. We started off with the ladies. Seems to be WWE's bread and butter to open their show. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart against Raquel, Gonzalez, and Dakota Kai. These two teams, they are no strangers to one another, if you guys remember. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai were the first ever NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, or champions. They won the Women's Dusty Classic. And then a couple of weeks later, NXT presented them with the first ever NXT Women's Tag Team titles. No match or anything. Don't know why they just didn't present those championships after the tournament was over. We waited 3 or 4 weeks for that to happen. Very unceremonious was Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai being crowned tag team champions. In the same night that they were crowned tag team champions, they were champions for about 30 minutes. They lost those titles to Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart held those titles for a little bit until losing them not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, to Ember Moon, what's her name? Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell and The Way now have the tag team championships. So this match is definitely going to be a situation that positions who wrestles The Way next. I didn't see it being Raquel. I didn't see it being Dakota because Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, they're baby faces, and I don't see WWE in this women's division booking Raquel Gonzalez, who has her main priority in that NXT Women's Championship, going for the tag team championships. Again, that sounds like a WWE main roster maneuver. So Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart win here. It was a very good match. I'm a big fan of all 4 of these women. So we had a little cat and mouse at the start of this match. Kai tagged in. Heels began to work over Ember Moon. Blackheart got tagged in. She ran wild on Dakota Kai. The baby faces were in control. We go to commercial break. Ember Moon was cleaning house when we got back from commercial. She then caused a distraction that allowed Gonzalez to boot Moon in the face. So we got Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. They went back to working over Ember Moon. Blackheart jumped in to make a save off of a pinfall attempt. Then Moon made the hot tag, and in comes Schatzy. Blackheart goes to do a face buster, gets a face buster on Kai for a near fall. Gonzalez saved Kai from a doomsday double team move from Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Gonzalez jumped in to make the save on Kai again by pretty much freeing her from a leg lock, crossface combination double team move applied by Moon and Schatzy. Gonzalez went for her signature choke slam. Moon countered out of that choke slam into a stunner. Now, Wade Barrett, he was calling it an eclipse. The eclipse is her finishing move off the top rope. What she did was a modified stunner. It was not the eclipse, even though Wade Barrett kept calling it the eclipse. Vic Joseph had to correct him. Moon and Blackheart then executed a double team combo move where Ember, she suplexed Kai into a dominator while Blackheart swooped in and delivered a cutter. Very nice and innovative offense there by Shotzi and Ember. Moon went to go make the cover on Kai for a pinfall, and Gonzalez attacked Blackheart and Moon after the match. So she laid both of them out, and she ordered Kai to pick up Ember Moon and really force her into the bottom of the turnbuckle. And then Gonzalez took Shotzi, was throwing her all around the ringside area. Gonzalez powerbombed Blackheart into the barricade, into the ring post, back into the barricade. And that was it. That was it. Gonzalez legitimately was frustrated that she lost because Kai took the pinfall there from Moon. And it looked like, by what was being said by Raquel Gonzalez, it seems like Ember Moon is going to be the next in line to challenge Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver. Now, everybody was speculating that it was going to be Dakota Kai because of a little backstage, I guess, disagreement of sorts between Kai and Gonzalez after Gonzalez shook Mercedes Martinez's hand and raised her hand in victory last week when they had their match. Now, that's too soon for a breakup. That's way too soon for a match. So doing Ember Moon is certainly the better way to go about it. Now, Ember's been in a tag team. She's been in a tag team and focusing on the tag team championships. Again, I got to ask, if you're looking for challenges for Raquel Gonzalez, there really is nobody because you're focusing so much on those women's tag team championships, and you've taken the focus away from Raquel Gonzalez and the singles championship. So now you're putting Ember Moon in a situation where it really doesn't make any sense because she really hasn't done anything in a singles capacity to warrant a match against Raquel Gonzalez. So you're just throwing her in there because she's a babyface. And that's it. You could have did the same thing with Schatzy. You could have did Schatzy instead of Ember, but it looked like from what we heard tonight that we're going Ember and Raquel at TakeOver. I don't have a problem with it. It's just very lazy. There's no substance to the booking in NXT anymore. It just happens. They pick somebody and they make a match. Nothing on TV even matters anymore. They just book matches for the sake of booking matches based out of necessity for what they're booking for. I don't like it. But it should be a good match. Ember Moon and Raquel Gonzalez possibly at TakeOver. Shotzi and Ember win this match and more than likely will be next in line against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Pete Dunne with Oney Lorcan versus Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is back since NXT TakeOver War Games in December, is what I heard. He was out all those months. He was out 5 months, 6 months. Got to be excruciating. Bobby Fish, I love his logo. If you guys were watching the show tonight, that fish logo with the eye, that little bonefish with the eyeball, I like it. Bobby Fish definitely looking his age. I don't know why we're going Bobby Fish in the singles capacity, but this is NXT after all, folks. They've adopted more Monday Night Raw than anything. Bobby Fish does not last long as a singles guy at all. I don't know why we're doing Bobby Fish single, Kyle O'Reilly single, and not doing them as a tag team. Cool Kyle is not getting over. Cool Kyle doesn't feel important. Cool Kyle doesn't feel main event. Bobby Fish ain't going anywhere. So why not just pair these two guys who have strength together, but WWE's doing the opposite. They're doing them individually, and they're both individually weaker because of it. Pete Dunne gets the victory here over Bobby Fish. Not a bad match. Every time I watch Pete Dunne, I cringe from joint manipulation. I would never want to take anything legitimately close to what Pete Dunne does to his opponents. So Bobby Fish, he came out hot. Dunne played possum just a little bit, taking him into a situation where he got a cheap shot. They grappled on the mat. Dunne started to stomp Fish in the face. Dunne then began to target Bobby Fish's arm because that was the nature of his injury when he had gone out. So a little bit later, Fish reverses to work Dunne's arm, turn the tables. Fish booted Dunne out of the ring just before the show goes to a commercial break, which there were a lot of tonight, especially in the main event. Dunne was again targeting Fish's arm when the show came back from its commercial break. Fish started to fire himself up. He caught Dunne in a sleeper. Dunne with some joint manipulation to break the sleeper hold, dropping a knee on Fish's injured arm. He looked very angry and very intense in his attack. Dunne followed Fish when Fish rolled to the outside. They were at ringside. Fish smashed Dunne into the barricade. Fish got back in the ring, only for him to walk into an enziguri by Dunne. Fish then answered back with an exploder suplex into the ropes, which led to a 2 count on Pete Dunne. Then they traded knees. Dunne buckled into the corner, and Dunne was playing possum towards the end of this thing. Dunne then exploded upwards into a flurry of offense. Fish cut him off, got a move on him, went for a cover, got a 2 count. Dunne snapped Fish's fingers while attempting an arm bar. Fish was managed he managed himself to get to the ropes, and Dunne countered with the bitter end, and Dunne countered he actually went for a cover here, 1, 2, 3, and that was pretty much it. Dunne covered Fish off the bitter end. No more counters for Bobby Fish, and that was pretty much it. Bobby Fish loses his debut match as a single here on NXT television, and Pete Dunne looking like a strong contender for Karrion Kross going into NXT TakeOver in your house. After the match was over, Lorcan jumped and injured Bobby Fish. Lorcan beat him down, and then he tried to re-injure Fish's weakened arm. Officials came out from the back in number, and they tried to break up this beatdown. Lorcan, he strapped Bobby Fish in the apron of the ring, in the ropes of the apron on the ring, and he started stomping on Bobby Fish's arm. He got on the apron, and he was bending his arm across the ring apron. It looked really nasty. So Bobby Fish was laid out there. Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan walk up the ramp. Bobby Fish trying to go after them. Still obviously got some business to take care of with Pete Dunne, but that was it. Pete Dunne gets the victory, and it looks like we may be getting Pete Dunne versus Karrion Kross at TakeOver for that NXT Championship. As I said before, I think that is the best possible match to do. After this match, we got Mercedes Martinez. She was walking backstage. She said she didn't beat Raquel Gonzalez to win the NXT Women's Championship, but she did learn, and she took her to the limit. Martinez goes on to say, tonight it starts. Tonight is night one on the road back to the title. She walks down the NXT hallways in the back, and all of a sudden, Boa, Xia Li's Boa, creeps out of a doorway and starts staring at Mercedes Martinez as she walks away. Look at that, folks. Mercedes Martinez says tonight is night one on the road back to the title. She is willingly putting herself in the back of the line to fight for wins to get back into contention. Well, what a novel idea. What a novel fucking concept. She gets it. Why don't everybody else get it? I don't know. So we got a promo from Hit Row. This was great. I'm really liking Hit Row, man. I'm really liking the presentation of Isaiah Swerve Scott. This was awesome. He was sitting in the middle. He's obviously surrounded by his entourage. B-Fab, Top Dollar, and Ashante the Adonis. So Isaiah Swerve Scott talks about keeping his eye on tonight's main event between Balor and NXT champion Karrion Kross. Swerve, Adonis, Top Dollar, who's AJ Francis, and B-Fab, Brianna Brandy, also had their own little promos here, all very good. They have their own warnings for the women's division, the tag team division, and the NXT North American champion. I believe Kushida was also mentioned in that one as well. So they're eyeing all the gold in NXT. Could we be looking at Hit Row taking over Tuesday nights? Now, I don't see Isaiah Swerve Scott yet in that NXT title picture. I don't see that happening yet. Do I see him holding a North American championship? Absolutely. Bronson Reed has a nice group of opponents. As a babyface, he's got a nice group of opponents to really go out there and have some nice matches with. We've seen one of them tonight. And one of those guys that I mentioned last week after he beat Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship, one of those guys that I mentioned, Santos Escobar, came out and confronted Bronson Reed tonight. We could get a Kyle O'Reilly. We could get a Dexter Lumis. We could get an L.A. Knight. We could get a Cameron Grimes. We could get a Bronson Reed versus Isaiah Swerve Scott title match. Bronson Reed versus Pete Dunne. We got a lot of different options for Bronson Reed as far as heels are concerned. I threw some baby faces in there because those guys I do think over time will be in contention for a North American Championship. But Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Bronson Reed, that's the match. That's the guy that's going to take the title off of Bronson Reed when they are ready to do that. Brianna Brandy, B-Fab, I don't know where she fits in. I don't even know if she could really wrestle. So I don't even want to talk about her going after a Raquel Gonzalez. But AJ Francis and Ashante Adonis, going after the tag team championships, I'm not really all for that yet either. They look very green. At least AJ Francis does. I don't think they're at that level yet to really bring that type of impact to what the tag team division needs. If you are on the same page as an MSK, then yeah, they're not there at all yet. But Ashante Adonis versus a Kushida, I could see them take the Cruiserweight Championship and the North American Championship, but everything else is a work in progress. We could be looking at Hit Row taking over NXT very, very soon, folks. And I thought this was a fantastic promo by all four of these individuals. Great stuff. Mercedes Martinez versus Zeta Raimer. This was pretty much quick and to the point. Martinez pinned Raimer. This was pretty much a squash match, if you want to call it that. Raimer got some offense, not too long though, and nothing of note. Martinez press slammed Raimer off the top rope, hit her with a knee strike, and then dropped her with an air raid crash. 1, 2, 3, and that was it for Mercedes Martinez. So after the match, Martinez, she's in the ring. She's celebrating in the ring. The lights suddenly go black. Red lights come up, and we start to see fog fill the ringside area. We see a graphic for Tian Sha, and that appears on the big screen inside the Capitol Wrestling Center. Then we had a graphic for the Mei Ling character that was shown blowing smoke on the screen, and then the red lights go away, and we see Martinez. All of a sudden, she looks down at her hand, and she has Xia Li's marking on her hand. Now, I don't know what this means. Looks like Mercedes Martinez is set to feud with Xia Li over the next couple of weeks. I got to be consistent with what I do here on the channel, man. You know, I make fun of Alexa Bliss for the fireballs and for the fucking fire and the magic and the light fixtures falling down from the Thunderdome and Lily the doll. But here we got NXT. It looks great as far as presentation. Lily and Alexa Bliss do not. I think it looks cringe. This looks at least a little semi-serious. But let's be real, folks. This Tian Sha character is 1,000 years old. Nobody believes that there's a 1,000-year-old fucking entity living and breathing on the NXT roster. Is it hokey? Yes. Is it fucking something that suspends the belief of the viewer? Not in a good way. Because everybody's going to be thinking, well, if this character's 1,000 years old and they're feeding me that this character's 1,000 years old, how is that even fucking possible? It's just as cringy as the Alexa Bliss shit. But this, and then the Alexa Bliss shit, then WWE officials want to say that blood and guts turned back the time in pro wrestling 30 years. AEW, they embarrassed the injury and set the clock back 30 years on professional wrestling. Meanwhile, we got fucking Mortal Kombat and fucking Harry Potter happening on Monday Night Raw and NXT individually. Looks great in presentation, but where the fuck is it going? Do we know who this person is? Are we going to see her facially? Do we know what she looks like? Has Xia Li done anything of note since being paired with this fucking Mortal Kombat character? I don't know, man. Mercedes Martinez, I think she's a little bit too serious of a performer to be mixed in with this fucking hokey bullshit. But we'll see what happens. She got the mark on her hand. She's now targeted by Xia Li and Boa. Ted DiBiase. He was talking to Toni Storm backstage. I'm sure he picked up her number. Why wouldn't he? It's Toni Storm. Then the Robert Stone brand, Robert Stone, Aaliyah, and Jessie Kamea, they walk up to DiBiase. DiBiase isn't trying to hear what they have to say. He tosses money at them. Walks out to the ring. And we get the $1 million face-off between Ted DiBiase and Karrion Kross to the moon. So we got the $1 million face-off. They're in the ring. Grimes comes out to his theme song. Is it me? Or does Cameron Grimes' theme song sound like it's a take or a parody of Kid Rock's Cowboy? That's what it sounds like to me, man. It's almost the same fucking beat and guitar tone. Then Ted DiBiase comes out with his signature WWF Jim Johnston theme song, and then I'm sitting there pondering, why is Ted DiBiase's song, which has got to be fucking 35 years old, still so much better than anything we hear on current WWE television? Theme musics are just not the same anymore, man. It's amazing how WWE has deviated away from the importance of theme music. Nobody in that company realizes how important theme music is to a performer. If you go watch these people live and you listen to these generic themes, are you going to be invested in that character? You want something that's going to strike a chord, hit a note. You want something that's going to leave a lasting impression. You want something that you could hum along to or sing along to and have fun to live. You know? I don't get any of that with these new modern theme songs, but Ted DiBiase's with his signature laugh, the money, 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 you know? I think that's a great song. One of my favorite theme songs of all time. So they're in the ring. Ted shows up. Grimes is there. He says he looks up to Ted and he saw him outbidding him and buying houses and buying watches. With that money, I remembered how you treat people terribly, and in the end, they still like you because you have all this money. Grimes says it must be true that you should never meet your idols. Even though he looks up to Ted, I regret meeting my idol. So Ted says, listen, kid, I really like you, and the crowd likes you a lot. Ted DiBiase then says he did put Grimes through a lot, but when he looks at Grimes, he also sees a little bit of himself. Ted says he's out here because he's looking for the one individual who embodies everything the $1 Million Man stands for, the $1 Million legacy. It's not all about money or treating people bad with money. It's about in-ring performance, and he's seen it from Grimes, and Grimes has what it takes. Ted says, Grimes, since you're rich, since you got rich, you lost your focus. But listen, you can regain that focus. And then L.A. Knight. L.A. Knight. My boy, L.A. Knight, comes out, who, by the way, doesn't have good theme music either. L.A. Knight comes out. Fans are booing him. Knight is listening to Ted DiBiase talk about his $1 Million legacy, and he sees a $1 Million opportunity right in front of him. Knight introduces himself to Ted as a man who does get the job done. Knight goes on hyping himself up, but Grimes warns him not to step in the ring because this is a conversation between millionaires, not some nickel and dime. He calls L.A. Knight nickel and dime, and then the crowd starts chanting nickel and dime to L.A. Knight. Ted DiBiase tells Grimes to let Knight talk. Let's listen to what he's got to say. Knight says Grimes is right. He's not a millionaire, but he lives comfortably. But with Ted helping him, they can reach new heights. Knight goes on and says that, listen, I know who you are. Ted DiBiase says, I know who you are. I've also seen you, and you got a $1 Million body. You got a $1 Million mindset. Grimes then gets upset and interrupts and says, listen, we're not here to talk about L.A. Knight's body, because he's not Cameron Grimes. Grimes goes on. He gets in Knight's face, telling him to get out of the ring or he will kick his ass straight to the moon. Grimes turns his back and he walks towards Ted DiBiase, but Knight attacks him from behind and lays him out. Fans are booing. Fans are chanting, you suck at L.A. Knight. Knight then leaves the ring with Ted DiBiase. Ted says, Grimes, you just are never going to get it. Ted leaves. He does his signature laugh. He walks up the ramp with L.A. Knight. And that's it. So we were hyped about $1 Million face-off. First of all, it's great to see Ted DiBiase still looking like Ted DiBiase, sounding like Ted DiBiase. Okay? This is the type of thing that I don't mind. A legend like this on NXT helping the younger talent, I don't mind that at all. This is good. But we got hype for Cameron Grimes, Ted DiBiase $1 Million face-off, and I'm left with more questions than answers. after this $1 million face-off. I am very confused at what happened here. I thought this was setting up a truce of sorts between DiBiase and Cameron Grimes. I thought DiBiase was actually going to become the financial advisor / manager for Cameron Grimes. But here we have Ted DiBiase leaving Cameron Grimes on his back after LA Knight sneak attacked him. He left with LA Knight, starts laughing at Cameron Grimes, tells Cameron Grimes he's never going to get it, and then they both exit out of the Capitol Wrestling Center together. So are we getting Ted DiBiase managing LA Knight? Is LA Knight the $1 million legacy? Does Ted DiBiase now go on to manage LA Knight? Why does LA Knight need anybody? He's probably one of the best talkers in the entire brand. But now you're going to pair him with Ted DiBiase when that role should have been for Cameron Grimes. Do we get a match between Cameron Grimes and LA Knight? I'm not interested in that. Very bizarre. Nobody knows what's going on here. And everybody wanted to see Cameron Grimes, because you've been doing television with them for weeks, Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase. You had LA Knight come out there at the worst fucking time to interrupt something that we were all genuinely interested in. He came out at the wrong fucking time. Nobody wanted to hear from this fucking bum. We wanted to hear from Ted and Grimes. And now we got Grimes with no Ted DiBiase. Don't know what they're going to do. At this point, I think they ruined one of the only good things on this entire show. Or maybe this is some sick and twisted way where Ted DiBiase ends back up with Cameron Grimes and he's playing LA Knight. I don't know. Maybe Ted DiBiase suckering LA Knight for his services and he's always worked for Cameron Grimes on the back end. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. But WWE, I think, botched big time this $1 million face-off. Sarah Schreiber. She was backstage trying to get an interview with Indy Hartwell. She was obviously looking for Dexter Lumis. So she walks past Everrise and interrupts one of their Everrise live tapings for their social media show. I still don't know if this is a real thing or not. Drake Maverick sees Everrise getting upset. He interjects himself, tries to calm things down because one of the Everrise guys was, you want to step up to me? You want to slap me upside my head? Please do it, for interrupting us. So Mr. Drake Maverick, he gets involved. Are you looking for Dexter? If so, I think I saw him a couple of hours ago in that room right behind you. So Indy walks into this room and she turns on the lights and she sees all of these drawings of a man with a broken heart. She saw all these paintings with broken hearts all over them. She saw a picture drawn of Dexter in the masseuse last week with him rubbing Indy's head while she had that facial mask on. One of the pictures had a knife right through the chest as if Indy stabbed him in the heart. All over the wall. It was some psycho fucking killer's wet dream where he's trying to get revenge on the fucking, on the girl that fucked him over. That's exactly what this reminded me of, man. Indy better watch her back. If Indy goes missing, you know who is the culprit here. So it looks like they're still playing up this Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis storyline. It is what it is, folks. I'm not enjoying it, but if it brings Dexter Lumis more television time and a little bit more importance on television, who am I to complain? Does look like a Monday Night Raw angle, to say the least, though. I will tell you that. Franky Monet, a.k.a. Taya Valkyrie. She has her debut tonight. She came out looking very regal. She looks very similar to what you remember her looking like in Impact. Same wrestling attire. She walked out with it looked like a wedding gown or the back of a wedding gown. Had a long train in the back. She walked down the aisle and around the ringside area. She got up onto the ring apron. And she's got all these pink lights and her name in flashy letters on the big screen. Very nice presentation for Franky Monet, I will say that. Wade Barrett said that her dress or whatever she was wearing was worth 35,000 pounds. I don't know what that translates into with American currency, but it sounds fucking expensive to me. So she wrestled a newcomer right out of the Performance Center, someone by the name of Cora Jade. And Monet, she looked good. Still not digging the gimmick. I don't like the gimmick. I think the gimmick actually is very, very cringe. I don't know if this is actually Taya Valkyrie in real life, if it's a play on her real life persona, just amped up a little bit. I don't know if that's her real dog. I would assume so. But she looked good for her first time in a WWE ring. She gets it. She's got a certain it factor to her when she's in that ring. She's always been good. I just never really cared for her. I thought she was incredibly overrated, but she was always a good wrestler in my eyes. But I will say this, where she had to go into a match on an Impact show and prove to be the best, prove to be the better professional wrestler, I don't think they're really going to focus on that aspect of Taya Valkyrie, Franky Monet's NXT run. I think what they're doing here is they're really going to take that, put it on the back burner because they know that she could do that well, and they're going to build and hype her up through her charisma and this gimmick and this presentation. It was $1 million presentation, I will tell you that. It looked like the presentation of somebody that they're going to put a rocket pack to and strap it to her and shoot her straight to the top. That's what it looks like to me. It almost seems like she doesn't even belong on NXT. She'd fit right on the main roster with John Morrison on Monday Night Raw. No doubt about it. She knows the TV angles. She knows how to work TV. She gets it. She's got a great look. This is going to be a big thing for the women's division. I see why Triple H wanted her on NXT first. But I'm not really digging it right now. I'm not really digging it at all. So Jade got some offense here, but Monet was all offense. We got a nice look at her moveset. Monet won with a version of a glam slam, which was basically Beth Phoenix's signature move. And it was a chicken wing into a sit-out face buster. That was it. We seen very intense offense. We've seen a Meteora in the corner by Monet, some stiff clotheslines, some knife-edge chops. She was throwing Cora Jade around. Cora Jade had almost a take on a very young Paige, and a Paige look right out of what Paige used to wear, and that kind of look, very punk rockish, I would say. This is the first time I've seen Cora Jade on NXT television. But this was nothing more than an enhancement match to show everybody that Franky Monet is more than just the cute dog and the, pomp and fucking, I guess, Louis Vuitton, whatever they're parading her around, looking like she's better than everybody, very prissy, very over the top. She can wrestle. And WWE is definitely going to do more with her in the future. You could just tell by the presentation that we saw tonight. The Grizzled Young Veterans, they cut a promo about going after the Tag Team Championships. They were backstage in response to Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. They didn't come across from the United Kingdom to deal with chair-throwing hooligans. They came to win Tag Team title gold. They are done with Ciampa and Thatcher, but they are not done with the NXT Tag Team Champions, MSK. They take shots at a few other tag teams like Legado del Fantasma and Imperium, and they will be watching next week's tag team title match closely, which will be MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. They go on to promise that they will soon to be recognized as the new NXT Tag Team Champions. Imperium, they were backstage. Speaking of tag teams, NXT UK champion Walter, he was shown, and I love the way that they're using Walter even though he's not there. Showed Walter addressing Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner via video from England. Talks about how Alexander Wolf didn't have what it takes. Alexander Wolf was not released. WWE just simply was not going to re-sign him to a contract as his contract was up. So they took him off television. They told him that they're not renewing their contract with Alexander Wolf, and that was it. So might as well just take him off television now and have him sit out the rest of his deal. So he goes on to say, Imperium now will set things straight moving forward, and they must right the first wrong that came when they dropped the NXT Tag Team titles to Breezango a while ago. Walter says to look at Breezango, they are showmen, while Bartel and Eichner are professional wrestlers. He goes on about how Imperium will restore honor to the sport of professional wrestling. Yes, please don't put them on Monday Night Raw. That type of language would go in one ear and out the other when speaking to Bruce Pritchard. Bronson Reed, the new North American champion, he comes out and addresses the crowd. He got a "You deserve it" chant, and rightfully so. WWE had some great video packages about Bronson Reed, showing tweets from Twitter and news articles about everybody being excited that he beat Johnny Gargano last week in the steel cage match. He talked about how his 14-year journey wasn't easy, as it was full of falling down and getting back up, falling down and getting back up. A lot of people told him no along the way, but this title is proof to any kid out there that they don't have to take no for an answer and that they can become a champion if they work hard and grind it out. Reed says good luck on trying to take this title from him. And to anyone in the locker room that wants a shot, you have a colossal mountain to climb. Fans go crazy. Music hits the PA. Out comes Santos Escobar with Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. They're better known as Legado del Fantasma. Escobar speaks from the ramp, says Reed has some kind of sob story here which brought tears to their eyes. Escobar can't relate to anything Reed said because Escobar, he was born a champion. The business belongs to him. Legado del Fantasma then walk to the ring, and they walk around to the ring. So they're cutting all the entry points off from Bronson Reed. Escobar continues his promo saying that the North American title now has caught his eye. He is the emperor of Lucha Libre. So Escobar jumps on the apron with Mendoza and Wilde now ready to attack. Out comes MSK. They saved Bronson Reed from a 3-on-1 attack. Escobar goes on about how the North American title will be his because it represents Mexico. I thought this was great. I knew this was going to be a match that WWE was eventually going to give us. And this is right up Bronson Reed's alley. This is what I was talking about. Now, the only thing I don't understand is that Bronson Reed just won the North American Championship. Santos Escobar just lost the Cruiserweight Championship and then lost a rematch to Kushida. So where in between does he get to call shots on the North American Championship when he really hasn't won any matches to call out said champion and then ask for a said title shot? We got to do better with the storytelling here, guys. Who's writing this shit? Are we simply writing to get through TakeOver? Santos Escobar has won 0 matches. I'd love wins. Then we can talk championship match. Once upon a time, NXT used to be good at giving people wins and then giving them a title shot. Now they just ask and poof, title matches happen. They've adopted the Bruce Pritchard mentality. The I don't give a fuck attitude. You gotta do better. NXT title match. Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. This was the main event. Before this match took place, General Manager William Regal announces Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Johnny Gargano. Next week in a triple threat match, the winner will challenge the NXT champion at TakeOver in your house on June 13th. I'm going with Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne is the most legit guy there. Johnny Gargano does not make a good match against Kross. Neither does Kyle O'Reilly. Both of those guys would get wiped from pillar to post from Karrion Kross. Not going to happen. Johnny Gargano can lobby for a title match all he wants because he interfered with Austin Theory against Kross a couple of weeks ago. Not going to happen. Kyle O'Reilly, I don't see him at all being a world champion. Come on. Pete Dunne is the guy. They've been building up Pete Dunne as the baddest motherfucker on the roster. That's the type of guy I want going up against Karrion Kross. At least, even though he is still small in comparison to Kross, he is a badass motherfucker. And I could see him going toe-to-toe with Karrion Kross. Not going to put Pete Dunne down that easy. Also, next week, we got Tag Team Championships on the line. MSK versus Legado del Fantasma, so it's shaping up to be a decent show as they are getting ready for TakeOver in your house. Championship match. This was awesome. Easily the best thing on the show. Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, NXT Championship on the line. We already talked about what I think happens to both guys in the beginning of the show. The match itself delivered big. It felt important. It ended up looking important. Balor looked great. This was Karrion Kross's best WWE match to date. Bar none. No questions asked. Kross throwing his weight around in this thing. Started slow. Then he started using his size and strength on Balor. He hurled Balor across the ring. Then Kross began to suplex him. Balor counted a second suplex to apply a crossface briefly. Balor exploded into a double stomp. We've seen a lot of those tonight by Balor. Seemed to be his only go-to offense, really. Kross struck back with a cheap shot to Balor, took him down. Balor then fights back again. Trapped Kross in the ring skirt on the outside. He then landed a devastating PK kick on Kross. We go to a picture-in-picture commercial break, which there were a lot of in this match. Kross was starting to come back and mount to come back. We came back from commercial break. They traded strikes in the middle of the ring. Balor with a sling blade. Kross kicked out at one off of Balor's sling blade. Kross then hopped to his feet. And he looked like he was a fucking raving lunatic. He looked like a man possessed. He looked like me watching Monday Night Raw on a fucking typical Monday night. So Balor leapt into a double stomp. He tried to take Karrion Kross down. Kross was able to counter Balor, fighting the cross jacket. Balor then trapped Kross, or he was actually trapped in Kross's sleeper. Balor was able to escape. He rolled to the outside. Kross sent Balor crashing into the barricade, and Kross gave Balor a razor's edge into the barricade. So they were fighting on the outside here. So Balor again made a comeback. He flew over the ropes with a tope con hero. Kross no-sold the dive. He came right back and powerbombed Balor right onto the announce desk. So Balor had his back targeted during the match, which this move kind of took that to the next level. Balor would not go down here. He was continuing to fight. He fought back to deliver another double stomp. Like I said, that was his go-to offense, that double stomp when he had the opportunity to go and use it. Balor then went for the coup de grace. Kross was down. He went up top, coup de grace. Balor misses the coup de grace. He doesn't roll through, though, because he's so hurt. He's so fatigued from being beaten down by Kross. He hits the mat on the way down. He goes down to his knees. Kross gets up. He was playing possum. Kross rolled out of the way. Kross then hit a German suplex, followed by a Saito suplex. Kross signaled for his finisher. Balor countered for a quick near fall. 2 count. Balor then applied a sleeper hold. Kross freed himself. Balor turned and countered Kross. He then went back to the sleeper. Kross tried to escape. Balor then transitioned into a triangle choke. Kross was about to tap. The referee was about to put Kross's arm down. He was about to fade away and just pass out. But the referee, in the middle of that, Kross grabbed the referee's arm and he was fighting back with all of his strength. He didn't go down. He muscles Balor up from the triangle position to deliver a power bomb on Balor to escape the hold. Balor, then still fighting back. He couldn't believe what he just saw. He had fucking possession in his eyes. He sat up like the fucking Undertaker. Balor was furious. So after that, Kross took him down with a forearm smash. Kross then stomped Balor. Kross locked in a sleeper. Referee checked on Balor. Stopped the match. Balor passes out. Karrion Kross retains the NXT Championship. This was an excellent match. Excellent story. Balor, it goes to show you how good Balor is. Listen, I love Kross. I think Kross is a total package. Where he's lacking is in-ring. He's not the greatest professional wrestler in the world, but he does enough to tell a great story. And he's only going to get better. This was easily his best match, but you gotta say, yeah, it was Balor's fucking moment here to really have a great match with Kross and show him how good he really is. Kross had a great match, but how much of that is thanks to Finn Balor and how good he is? Balor could have a great match with anybody. Kross, for the most part, isn't the most exciting pro wrestler in the world, but when you got somebody in the ring like Balor, you're destined to have a great match. So you got to give credit where credit is due. Yes, Kross had a great match, but Balor is the reason why this was Kross's best match to date. You got to have a good dance partner. He definitely had that tonight. I think Balor goes to SmackDown. A match with Roman Reigns sounds to be the most attractive of options. Kross, there's nobody on that NXT roster. Bronson Reed, maybe, but that's not right now a time and a place to do that. NXT TakeOver in your house seems like a throwaway show, if you ask me. I think we go with Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne gets the title shot, and then we move Kross on to Walter. And then that's where I think we see Kross lose the championship. I think that would be one hell of a match. Now, I do got one news article on Finn Balor. Apparently, he was interviewed, and this was with emo fuckface with the bad haircut that works for Fox. You guys know who I'm talking about. The guy that shops at the Whole Foods and stalks somebody with the name of Abella Danger. Yeah, that guy. Balor was on this Geeks podcast on Fox. So we talked about his demon persona with emo fuckface with the bad haircut. Finn Balor revealed that there is still some life left in his demon character, but right now he is happy being the prince. Do I need any more convincing of you guys that Balor and Reigns is a good match for SummerSlam? The Tribal Chief versus the Prince? Sounds like a match made for SummerSlam, if you ask me. He says this about the demon character. That's when we develop the dark side of the Balor character and Finn being the good side of the Finn Balor character. It was an evolution, and I'm not really sure looking back if that's how I wanted it to be handled or if it got too far from where it was or if we made it better. I don't really know. In 10 years' time, looking back, I might go, we did it right, or we messed it up, or I don't know yet. There's still some time left. There's still some life left in the demon character. But right now, I'm happy being the prince, and I feel like this is my most true self in my WWE tenure. There's a reason why he gave that response. Could we see the demon if he does go one-on-one with the Tribal Chief? I don't know. Last time we saw Balor as the demon was at SummerSlam, if I am not mistaken. So let's see what happens there. That is your NXT review, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. We had almost 900 people in the chat. I appreciate you very much. Super chats are open. We're going to hang out and go through the super chats right now. If you guys want to get them in, please do so. And if you guys have not hit that thumbs up yet, please hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 600 likes. We are definitely almost there. 430 right now. Let's try for 600 on the live stream. Also, follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. If you guys missed any of the videos that I've uploaded previously in the last couple of days, man, Off the Script live on Sunday night with episode 377. That is on the channel. Monday Night Raw from last night. That's on the channel. And then Off the Script Extra from Monday afternoon. That's also on the channel, so you guys got plenty of content to keep yourselves entertained. And today's show is sponsored by Homage. Homage.com. If you guys want some great-looking retro and vintage t-shirts, man, they are your go-to. Homage. That's Homage. Homage.com. You are going to use code SCRIPT at checkout for 20% off. Let's start at the top. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Marshall Blackbeard D. Teach with a 5 and a 5 super chat. Hey, JD, hope you don't mind me asking, but how did you and Jesse meet? And what is your favorite promo from WWF, WWE? Marshall, I'd have to get back to you on my favorite promo. I don't know. Probably CM Punk's pipe bomb. Just because I love when they blur the line of what's a work and what's a shoot. He also says, I'm a Destiny 2 player and my light level is 1317 as a Titan. But is there any weapons you would recommend having? Marshall, all I could say is this. I'm not a master at Destiny. I'm always learning something new. But I would say this current season's weapons, the season of the Splicer, I think the Chroma Rush is excellent. I think the Grid Skipper Pulse Rifle is excellent. And I think those two are absolute must-haves as far as this season goes. And then obviously the Vault of Glass weapons. The corrective measure that I got is fucking beast. It's the machine gun. I love using the heavy swords. I got the Lament heavy sword. I love using the Code Duello rocket launcher. Very basic. Very basic I am. I'd love to get a raid off the script team together. I'd love to get some of you guys to raid so we can all like learn together and get some loot together, but I don't know how many of you guys would be interested in that, man. So, Marshall, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the $10 in Super Chat, bro. Reese with a $9.99 Super Chat. Mr. No Days Off. Appreciate you, Reese. We got Marshall Blackbeard with another two $5 Super Chats. Look at this guy, man. 20 in total. I also want to give you a big shout out. You have been doing a great job and I love listening to your shows. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you so much, brother. Ali with a $4.99 super chat. What a match between Balor and Kross. It was incredible. And JD, was you a fan of Limp Bizkit when he did the Undertaker music, Rollin'? Ali, I was not a fan of Limp Bizkit, but I always had a certain love for that song. I thought that song was very catchy, and I did love The Undertaker coming out to that. I thought it was awesome. Tenorio, 128 with a $5 super chat. What are your favorite Alice in Chains songs? Anything off of Dirt? Them Bones... And then Tommy Dreamer's theme, Man in a Box. Raging Girl Gamer with a $49.99 super chat. Thank you, Rage. Hey, JD, finally got a morning shift. So not going to always be here the whole review, but I'm also down to do a raid any weekend. Just let me know. I have more time then. Keep your head up always. Also, I hope Jesse is okay. Jesse's doing a lot better, guys. He was texting me during NXT. He was watching NXT tonight, which means to me and tells me that he missed it and he's doing a lot better. Obviously, he's still grieving and he's still hurt, which is going to be there. But he's a strong enough guy that he felt comfortable enough and calm enough to watch some NXT of all things, and he's not even a big NXT guy anymore. But we're all still thinking about Jesse, man. We all love him. Thank you, Rage, for the $50 super chat. Zay Lethal with a $4.99 super chat. I think this will lead to Ted DiBiase faking an alliance with LA Knight to bring out the best of Grimes, leading to DiBiase ultimately managing Grimes. I said that earlier. Zay, you and I are both on the same wavelength. You just don't get it. He's using LA Knight to teach Cameron Grimes a lesson. I love it. Antonio with the $4.99 super chat. Do you think Cameron Grimes will be on the main roster soon if Vince McMahon sees a southern accent on him? Also, Balor versus Roman on SmackDown. Antonio, yes. I went over the entire first portion of the show talking about Balor and Reigns. Cameron Grimes on the main roster? I don't see it happening. I think he'd get buried. He'd be chasing R-Truth for the 24/7 title. Munchie time! I got my koozie today. It looks awesome. And it will hold many beverages for ages to come. Wish I could come to Jacksonville in the meet and greet, but duty calls for work. I hope you and everyone enjoy Double or Nothing Live. Cheers. Munchie time, I'm happy to hear that you got your koozie. You and Dayron can stop emailing me now. I'm glad you got your koozie, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I think it feels great and it looks great. Thank you for the $20, brother. Wish we could be seeing you at the meet and greets Sunday at Intuition Ale Works, Jacksonville, right before Double or Nothing. Somebody in the chat, I see somebody in the chat mentioning Pantera, man. Man in a Box, I mentioned that was Tommy Dreamer's ECW theme. RVD had Pantera and their song Walk. My favorite Pantera song, 5 Minutes Alone. Excellent track. My second favorite Pantera song, War Nerve. Sounds like the type of song that would be a JD track, don't you think? Furious Nation with two $5 super chats. Do you see Daniel Bryan going to AEW or re-signing with WWE? Daniel Bryan is going back to WWE. Balor, I would move to SmackDown to wrestle Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Roman would not bury him, and I don't care what anyone else says about that. Finn Balor being in the ring with Roman Reigns is a victory in itself, man. You don't get in the ring with Roman Reigns and lose anything. If WWE's putting you in the ring with Roman, then they believe in you. Plus, you're working with Paul Heyman, man, so you know that you got that security blanket of these guys are going to take care of me as far as storyline goes. Guys, I'm about to get out of here, man. I appreciate you stopping by for the NXT post show, man. I wish we had a little bit more interest. I wish we had a little bit more interest in the NXT product, man. I remember back in the day when I did these NXT reviews and they were pre-taped, man. How many people were fucking excited about NXT, man? I was fucking gleaming. Yeah, I was the happiest motherfucker on a Wednesday night, man. Now I feel half dead. Nothing on this show was remotely interesting outside the main event. It was downright boring. I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, guys, I may be live streaming tomorrow on Twitch. Follow me on social media if you guys want to keep up to date on that type of stuff. I haven't streamed because there really is nothing to play. I'm going to jump on some Destiny now. Maybe we could get some OTS members and do a raid or something, man. I got an Atheon Vault of Glass checkpoint. Because I tried to do it earlier. Couldn't get it done because I had to watch NXT. Follow me on social media, man, at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. Let's try for 600 likes, guys. Let's get to at least 500. 482 likes right now on the live stream. Hit that thumbs up if you have not done so yet. Next time you'll see me is probably tomorrow with some extra. Talk about Adnan, Virk, and Edge, Sasha Banks, John Cena being canceled. You know the deal. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, guys, I'm taking my cold beverage. Windows are down in the Mustang. I'm hitting the highway. I want 2 things from you guys right now. Number 1, I want those guitar emojis in the chat. Number 2, that music you're listening to right now, I want that music on max. I'll see you guys tomorrow for some OTS Extra, and then I'll be back live on Friday night with Friday Night SmackDown right before Double or Nothing. Until then, guys, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow for OTS Extra.